All right. What's up, guys? Welcome back.
It's been a while.
Yeah. We had to research for season 2, so we back. Season 2, first episode of the second season. We're going to do things a little bit different. All right. We're going to try to give you guys an hour of solid stuff rather than like 4 hours of stuff. I'm actually physically running out of space on my computer because of like how long the episodes have been. But it's fine though. It's fine. That's why we have hard drives, external hard drives. But as you can see, I got Frankie with me. If you can't see, if you're listening, Frankie's here. You done heard him speak.
Just once.
You heard this sweet, sweet sound of his voice. And today we're going to be covering some pretty interesting things here. This has been, if you don't know, D23, which is like a fan club for Disney stuff, has been going on right now. It's almost like a Comic-Con kind of situation. And I don't know if they do it. I don't know if it's at Florida at Disney World or if it's at Disneyland out in California. I'm not really too sure, but it's going on right now. And essentially they're announcing a lot of these new MCU titles, these new Star Wars titles, and things like that. So we're going to be covering that a bit heavy, but we also got some Siege stuff. New season came out. Grimm is the new operator. He has a Hive launcher, and that thing hot pings like an area. If it's like a launcher, you shoot it, and then it's like a little swarm of these tiny little robots. And if you walk into it, you get hot pinged and possibly disoriented.
Yeah, I don't know for sure about that one.
Yeah.
I didn't see exactly what it said, but I don't know. All I know is it's kind of like how Jackal's ping. I'm pretty sure it's similar to how Jackal's ping works.
Right. Yeah. But none of us have played it. I don't have Xbox Live right now, so.
And I don't play Siege by myself.
Yeah. So, but real life testimonials incoming. Right, coming soon. Then we're going to talk about Stellaris has a new console update for this aquatic species, and it also comes with the Sea Dragon, as well as some other gaming stuff we may or may not touch on. Harry Potter the game was delayed from December /November of 2022 to February of 23. The day before, which was like a crazy thing on Steam. I think it was like one of the most requested or most wish listed game, however it works on Steam.
I think at one point it was, and then I'm pretty sure it got replaced by something else, but I don't know what.
Yeah, but this was like a really highly anticipated game after the initial trailer or the initial gameplay came out, and then you sort of dig a little bit deeper and you realize that it's maybe not what it seems to be, at least on the developer side, and then just some MCU stuff. Black Panther Wakanda Forever is coming out. I believe it's this year. Ironheart, Ant-Man 3, Skull and Bones. We have some news on that, and then we're going to talk a little bit about this NASA thing, actually, which I thought was kind of cool. We could talk about it first if you want. Which NASA is launching this. It's called DART. It launched in November of 2021, so last year it launched. And it's a spacecraft that's supposed to crash intentionally into an asteroid.
Yeah. I don't remember the name of the asteroid.
Yeah, it started with a D. It was like Deformus or something like that. Deformus. It was like this weird name, like a scientific name, of course, but I have no idea. But it launched from, I think it was a SpaceX rocket.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. They launched the rocket. I'm pretty sure. Hold on. Let's see if I can find it again. From what I remember, at least, they launched the rocket like it was a SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket, I believe, that it was attached to. Mm-hmm. And now it's been traveling for 10 months until close to the end of this month. It was I believe the 26th is the day it's supposed to come into contact with the asteroid.
Yeah.
But they're supposed to be able to know when it's within 2 kilometers of it on the 25th.
Oh, that's sick.
Something like that.
Yeah. So That's actually kind of cool. You were telling me about that as I was writing all this, as I was writing this soliloquy of stuff, as you could see. But I don't know. I thought that was kind of cool. You know, NASA's launching some real life space stuff. Maybe it's also because I was reading like Ant-Man and like all the quantum tech stuff, and I was like, oh, we're getting so close. Yeah. We're getting so close, bro. I think we can actually time travel, bro. Like I think like I think the government definitely has it somewhere. Like they're time traveling somewhere to do something.
I don't know.
I would. I mean, where would you go if you could time travel?
I don't personally know where I would go, to be honest. Like, I don't know what specifically I'd want to see.
Mm-hmm.
If I had to pick one thing. Unless you're saying, like, if I had the power to do it whenever, I mean, I guess it doesn't really matter. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I guess if what I'm saying, like, if you could not pick, like, okay, so if you could pick, like, a person, right? Rather than a time period, like, they're tweeting again. Oh, no, it was Jerson. They shared a reel with me.
Yeah.
Shout out, Jerson. But if you could pick a person, oh, shit, let me do that too. But if you could pick a person while I silence my phone, if you could pick a person to talk to back in the day, but you had to travel to that time, like, who would it be?
Damn. I don't know. I don't know one person that I'd want to go back in time and talk to.
Yeah. I don't know. Sometimes I wonder, like, kind of I don't know if I'd do anything, like, great. Like, I wouldn't talk to Jesus, you know, or anything like that. Like, I mean, first of all, I wouldn't even know how to talk to him because, like we assume that he's English, or that he speaks English because, like, the Bible is English.
I highly doubt. Wait, what?
Yeah, well, that's the thing is, like,
I thought it was just translated to English.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like, like for me, I shouldn't say us. I shouldn't assume for everyone, but for me, I always thought that he was like, he spoke English. Like, to me, if I met Jesus, he would speak not like an Englishman, but he would have like one of our accent, but he would speak English, or he would speak like American or something, and then we'd be able to talk to him. But if I go back, he spoke like Hebrew, so I'm not going to be able to have a conversation with him. You know what I mean? Like, and then you'd have to find somebody around that also spoke English. You know what I mean? Which, I mean, at the time, like, the English Empire was owned by, or was it by the Romans or something like that? Like, the Romans were, like, all of England was taken over by the Roman Empire, and then it spawned the English Empire. And then the English Empire spawned us. Yeah. Well, no, not spawned, but, like, we weren't a colony, like, people that left. Like, it wasn't like like the settlers came over here and were like, this is ours now. Well, they kind of did. They kind of did, but like it wasn't like how India was, where like the English like went in and took India militarily, and they just held it. Like they didn't really send the military. Like we were just like, it was just like a pilgrims that settled here, and they were like, oh, this is ours now. but yeah, I don't even know why I went off on that tangent. But I wouldn't speak to Jesus. I think I would go and speak to, like, I wonder what it would be like to see my grandfather, like, when he was young. You know what I mean? Because, like, I talk to him so much, and he always shares a bunch of stories. I would always like to see, like, meet him when he was, like, my age. And see that he had like, my grandfather had he bought a house for $20,000.
At that point, I'm just going back. I'm just going to take whatever money I can get my hands on and going back.
Oh, I'm selling the Camry.
A little bit.
I'm selling the Camry. I'm going back. I'm going back with like $30K, and I'm like, all right, guys, what can I do with this? Right? And I could buy. Oh, they paid. I think he was telling me they paid $50 for rent in Philadelphia. Like when him and my grandma first got married, they paid $50 a month.
I don't know if I'd want to go back. No cell phones, no
internet,
dude. No video games.
Yeah, that's another thing too. Is I wonder, like, I think about this like shockingly a lot, like when I'm out in public for some reason. But I always wonder, like, if I just took this thing and I went back and I was like, here, and I just gave it to somebody that was like in 1943, and I was like, here, what is this? He'd be like, what the fuck, dude? I'd be like, yeah, just touch it and open it up, and then you try and make a call and nothing happens because like you have no service.
Well, I mean, on top of that, like, they dress different. You know, I don't dress in anything but a fucking t-shirt and a pair of shorts.
Yeah, year round.
My ass going back in time with this outfit on. I don't know how anybody's gonna react to that. I guess it depends on how far I go back, but like,
yeah, I feel like if you went back to like,
yep.
Google is talking to you, bro. I feel like if we went back to, I think you could go back to the 70s wearing like we can go back to the 70s wearing like what we're wearing right now and kind of fit in, right? Like, t-shirt, shorts, sweatpants, t-shirt, same thing. But if we went back to like the 30s, right, where they used to wear like bathing costumes, you'd be like, what is this guy wearing? That guy's from the future. You know what I mean? Or you know what I would do is I would try to find someone that was taking a picture and then hold up the cell phone and like take a picture of them back, and then in the future go back to this time and then go on like Reddit and be like, oh, see this guy was a time traveler, right? That's the kind of shit that I would try to do too. Like I would just create conspiracy theories. Like he was sent by the government to do this and do that. I'm like, yeah, no, I was just, I'm just chilling.
You got to go back to a year where something happened though, like something wild.
Yeah, like you know, I was thinking, you can go back to like, yeah, like
or just be a part of it at least.
No, I know what I would do is like I would put on like the most, like if I really wanted to get my way, is I would sell the Camry now.
You know what? I think that it's probably best if we don't have time travel. Now I'm thinking about it because I know that what you're saying and what I'm thinking are basically the same thing. Because I'd fuck around with history at that point.
Yeah,
like
right,
not when I say fuck around with history, I mean like not change history.
No.
But like just go back and do exactly what you're saying. Just get spotted in the most ridiculous things. Like probably I would probably go back to like start the Bigfoot conspiracy, just dress up in like a big ass Bigfoot costume and just be the first one to be spotted looking like that's what I'm saying. Like that stuff like that would be fucking hilarious to come back to this time and know.
Yeah, and it's only known within like a couple people. Like, there's only like 15, like some fucking general that was there and like some scientists. Those are like the only people that are going to know what really, really happened, right? And you just get to hold that secret for the rest of your life.
You don't even tell them what you did. You can't tell anybody when you come back that you did that. You just got to live with knowing that you did that. I mean, I'd probably still share that amongst everybody else, like my.
But
like
nobody would believe it.
You, yeah. Exactly. Like you and Jason. I'd be like, listen, y'all won't believe me, but y'all see this? I did that.
Or what I would do is sell the Camry, right? And then this would be on like some personal richness shit. Would be like sell the Camry, go back to when like Steve Jobs invented Apple, and then invest in it. Give him like $20,000. Like, hey man, I believe what you're gonna do. Give him like $20K. Come back, no car. But still $10K, come back into the future, and now like the whole family's worth like. But I'd have to figure out who my oldest. I'd have to like probably put it in like my mom's name, or something like that, or like my grandfather's name. So I'd have to go back. Well, I don't think my mom was born yet. When was it? It was the. I don't even know when they founded Apple, but like it was like I want to say the 70s, 80s.
That early? You think?
I think so.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, because they had like they had like I don't know, it was in Forrest Gump.
I know.
That was like in the 80s. So maybe like 70s, 80s when they invented the computer, right? Or go back to when Bill Gates invented it and just give him like, $10,000, buy a bunch of shares.
Put invest in Microsoft.
Exactly, yeah. And then I come back and like my mom's filthy rich and she's like, I don't even know why I'm filthy rich. I'm like, you're welcome. And then I could just be like, the thing was though is that you like I'd have no leverage at that point. Like, hey mom, can I borrow $20? She's like, no, you got to work for your own shit. I'm like, wait a minute.
I think the thing for me is that I've seen like way too many time travel things, and now I'm just like second guessing. Not second guessing the things that I was saying, where it's like, well, what we were saying before, where we just start like random conspiracies, but like actually changing history. Like, if you go back and invest. Like, who's to say that you even get born? Like, your mom's rich. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, I was like, hold on.
Yeah, right?
Hold on. Like, do events still play out? Like, do I still exist if I do this right now? Like, I'm not going to start Back to the Future disappearing and shit, right?
Oh my god! Like I go back, I'm like ready to go back. I go back and I'm here, and I'm like,
well, I'm also only saying this because I've been watching. I don't know if you ever watched The Flash, like the CW Flash.
yeah. I've seen it before.
And so, every other season, he's like going back in time and changing something, and then it fucks everything up.
Yeah.
So so now I'm just like, fuck. I don't know if we should do this.
Yeah. Well, I wonder how, but like, it's the thing. If it was like Avengers timeline shit, then we'd be good. Because like, that means you just like all the events play out as they like event. Like, I think it's what the Avengers is like. The way their time stuff works out is like if, like you can't like the past. When you travel to the past, that becomes your present. And just like right now, we can't really change our future, right? Like the future can't be changed by a difference that was made in our past. I don't know how the fuck they explained it. It was weird. It was like this shit always happens. You know what I mean? And then there's like
that was more so like they can go back and change stuff in the past, but that just creates
like a branch
from that point. Yeah. That doesn't affect their own world. I don't know. Or their own time.
Yeah. But like imagine though I go back, I invest that money in Microsoft, right? Or you go back and invest the money in Apple or whatever.
Right.
What happens when we come back to like now? In that case, nothing would really happen. Like we just come back and be normal.
Right.
Then my mom would have all this money.
I was going to say we'd still be living in the same that's so weird.
Right? Isn't that weird? Cuz then it's like then how did like Captain America come back at the end of Endgame? Like he was just living there the whole time?
I guess.
Like the whole time he was there sitting on that bench. Like just waiting for himself to go. He was like in the woods like watching himself go and he's like, yeah. And then as soon as he left,
he just timed it.
Exactly. Yeah. He was like watching but then you know what? What's crazy is that you had to watch that Captain America watch everything happen. Like he had to watch Tony die again. He had to watch like, his own self get his ass kicked by Thanos again. Like he was just there like chilling in the lake with it on like a canoe. He was like, man. Like I remember when he hit me in the head like that. That shit sucked. I remember when he just destroyed my shield with that fucking two-bladed sword that he had. Yeah, I don't know. I think to wrap this time thing up though, right? Either probably not go back and do it. Either go back in time and do hijinks, right, and just get caught doing dumb shit throughout time, or go back and try to make myself rich. But I don't know how that would work. Because then what? Like, imagine I got rich. My mom like I was saying earlier. Imagine I made my mom rich, and I was like, "Hey, can I borrow $20?" And she said no. I'd be like, "Do you know, like, what I did? Like, do you know why we have all this?" She's like, "Yeah, because I'm a smart investment woman." I'm like, "Smart investment woman? Okay, all right. You're welcome, Mom. You're welcome." No, I don't know if my mom would do that though. I know she definitely. I don't know. You ever wonder how people would act if they're rich? Like, do you think that really like having a lot of money actually changes people?
Maybe.
I don't know. Like if you came out tomorrow and you were like, I'm a millionaire, I don't think I'd look at you any different. I don't think I would never be like, yo, let me hold like $1,000. I wouldn't do that. I don't know. I feel weird asking people for money.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know.
Right? Like,
I feel like it just depends on your, like, how you are right now.
Yeah.
Like, because I know some people, they get a hold of, like, they win the lottery, but then, like, they just spend all that money.
Yeah,
they like blow through that money, and then they basically just get, like, they end up in a worse position than they were before they won the lottery. Yeah, like, it doesn't happen all the time, but I know that.
Yeah, and it's because they win like all this, like they win like $100 million or even like $5 million. Then they buy this huge house, and they know that if they're working at like a regular job, like if they're working like for $16 an hour, you can't pay the mortgage of that house, dog. Like if you go under, you're on a very like thin layer of ice, you know. And if you just fall through once, you just got to make sure you're not over like a cliff or some shit, you know, because if you fall through, you're donezo. But at the same time, though, there are people that win the lottery and they don't really Like they may buy a nice car, may get a nice house, but they don't live really above their means, right? But most people, and I was hearing, not to go off on a tangent again, but I was hearing this football player talk about it, and he was like, if you're young and you don't really like if you weren't exposed to having money from the time you were a kid, once you get older and you start making a lot of money, like $200,000 a game check and shit like that, $200K a week, you start to make all that money. Like you don't really know how to portion that out. Like you don't know what to do with it because you're like, I'm never gonna go broke. But then at the end of the season, because they only get paid for what 17 games. At the end of the season, and the season rolls around, you're not in the playoffs, you're not getting the bonuses. You know, how much of that money do you have left over? You know, like did you pay your mortgage for the year, right? Like did you pay this off? Did you pay that off? Like now, you know, it's not uncommon like Lawrence Taylor. You know what it is?
Kind of.
Yeah. Lawrence Taylor, he's only worth for those of you guys who don't watch football, he revolutionized the game. Like all the pass rushers, all the guys you hear about, Aaron Donald, all the good defensive guys, he paved the way for those guys, right? Because he was so devastating. And he made a lot of money throughout his career, right? Like he would spend, I think he said like $100,000 a week on hookers and blow. And he's only worth like $200,000 now.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like, I mean, and he was living all like this big, like, you know, had this huge mansion and all these different things. And he just didn't know how to portion his money out. And plus I think he was, you know, a little bit addicted to, you know, the cocaine, right? And that lifestyle, but that kind of unfortunately ends up happening, you know, but I don't think it necessarily changes you as a person. Right. But I don't know. This would probably be good. It's probably good to like talk to this like about Gary, like talk to Gary about this and see like if there's like a psychological sort of thing that happens. You know, oh, that'd be cool. Shout out to Gary, by the way. Professor Andrews, my guy. That's my dude. We gotta have him on. We have to have him on
at some point.
At some point, yeah. No, maybe I don't know, Christmas break, maybe or something, or a weekend or whatever. But yeah, you guys. Super, super, super good guy. Just a really cool guy, really cool to talk to. Kind of sounds like Jerry Seinfeld a little bit. Like he's dope. But all right. Well, that's the first tangent of the day. We went from time travel to talking about 9/11 for some reason. I don't know why I brought that up. That'll get cut out.
Yeah.
That shit's getting cut out real quick. 24 minutes. I know I'm going back. So let's go ahead and talk. So we talked about Siege. Let's talk about Stellaris a little bit. I'll give you the floor for that one, just because that's your forte. New aquatic species and a space sea dragon.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't play it yet. I just know a little bit from what I saw when it originally released on the computer. So, I mean, I do have it. Like I said, I downloaded it on the Xbox, so I can play it whenever. I just didn't feel like playing it. But the Aquatics DLC, I mean, it's interesting. It adds in a little bit of a different stuff to do. Like, I know they added it in. So, you know, the, like, basically the Death Stars that they have in Stellaris?
Yeah.
So they have one that lets you just, like, terraform a planet for the aquatic species. At least they just use that to basically convert a planet instead of, I mean, some of the other cannons have different types, like the purifiers. They can just build one that just eliminates life on planet. You can get one that does what the Death Star does and just blows up the planet. I mean, those were obviously added in with Apocalypse, but with the aquatic species DLC, I think they can just use that on whatever planet they want to, and then convert that planet into an ocean planet.
Damn, bro, that's nuts.
The Space Dragon one, though, I don't know fully how it works. I just know that it's one of the origins that lets you basically start out with a Space Dragon at your home system, like in your home system, and then you can either like basically please it or piss it off, and then that'll kind of like determine what kind of reaction they have. They can either help you or hurt you.
So how do you please it? You get like a female dragon,
or I don't exactly know.
you just force her into like.
I'm assuming there's some sort of way to. It either has to do with an event chain, or just doing certain stuff like giving it resources or like food, maybe. I don't know.
Right. Yeah.
Exactly. Like I said, I gotta try it, but I haven't been home to play my Xbox, so I wouldn't know yet. I wouldn't know yet. I always try the new stuff as soon as they add it in, but it usually doesn't work out for me. Like I tried to play as a Megacorp, I suck as a Megacorp.
Yeah. I
tried to play as a Death Cult. It was okay, but it didn't work out as well as I was hoping it would.
So what is the Megacorp for me? Maybe people that don't know.
Well, the Megacorp is it's basically like a corporation is in charge of your race. So like, well, not just your race. It's basically whatever, race you end up picking is obviously the first race that you are. Mm-hmm. So like in that specific instance, I guess, a Megacorp evolving or, going from the planet to space and still being in charge, I guess it's basically like a corporation more or less bought out every government.
That's incredible.
And they basically are the government. Like the corporation is the government.
Damn.
So like, I know a good amount of the Megacorps utilize like slavery in that.
Yeah.
So they don't have to. I mean, you can make a peaceful Megacorp. Like usually, I think the time that I played as the Megacorp, I was peaceful.
Mm-hmm.
But like, as soon as somebody pisses me off, I'll go to war with them.
Yeah. So, and by the way, just to clarify,
you do get different bonuses from playing as these different, like the Megacorps, they usually have a good bonus in like production.
Yeah.
So like you'll get bonus energy or bonus minerals depending on what you do. Maybe even consumer goods. So consumer goods are a pain in the ass when you're playing as
my gosh, dude. Yeah, and just to clarify, when we talk about race, this game is like we're not talking about we're talking about like there's a human race, there's like a what is it called, a cephalopod, and like you can become like these
arthropods, you can become the Death Cult, so basically just undead.
Yeah, like zombies pretty much. Yeah, so that's what we were talking about race. We're not talking about like Hispanics or black people or Asian people. Yeah. That's what Stellaris is. It's a strategy game, but what is it called? A universe. It's like you're in a universe or a galaxy.
Yeah,
you're like a galactic strategy game, pretty much.
I don't know. There's like a specific. I know they consider it a grand strategy game. Mm-hmm. And I think why, like, so Civ is, I'm pretty sure, considered a grand strategy game as well.
Okay. So what is a grand strategy versus like a...
Just like, it's a game that would take place... Okay, so you know how you can basically play Stellaris for as long as the game holds up.
Yeah.
So I think that's pretty much what it means to be like I mean, it has a lot of aspects of different strategy games in one.
Yeah.
So like, it combines like combat, it combines you having to worry about infrastructure. Yeah. You have to worry about your politics. So it's not just like a turn-based game. So how like they consider strategy games like Yu-Gi-Oh. Like I was gonna say Yu-Gi-Oh. What the fuck? Risk.
Oh, the cards.
That was a better one. I don't know why I fucking thought Yu-Gi-Oh. Whatever. So yeah, like Risk. Like Risk is a turn-based strategy game, or like Supreme Commander is like a RTS. Like that's what they consider. That's real-time strategy.
Okay, so that's like everything's happening at once, like how it would in the real world. Okay.
Yeah. So instead of like, Risk where you're moving one thing or one fucking enemy, you're taking on one enemy at a time. Like RTS games obviously, like when we played Supreme Command or Command and Conquer, like
Yeah.
you're building up an army and you're attacking. You're winning or losing right now.
Yeah. Yeah. Or Halo Wars is another one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So those are turn-based games, and then
Well, no, those are RTS. So like
Oh, yeah, my
Supreme
bad.
Commander, Command and Conquer, Halo Wars, those are RTS. Like turn-based would be like Risk.
Risk.
I don't know why
Civ.
it's a hard thing for me to think. Maybe Civ might not be a grand strategy game, but I don't know. I don't know what classifies it being a grand strategy game. I guess because I would think that Civ would be considered a grand strategy game just because
You got to worry about
You-
the politics and
like
yeah.
it's not just you're not just worrying about one thing at a time. Like you don't have to communicate with other civs,
Yeah.
but like you will end up at war with them if you do something to piss them off one way or
Yeah.
another.
Yeah, and if you're not like cool with them from the jump, like they're just gonna like not like you and then be like, yeah, I don't mind going to war with this guy. So you kind of do have to play the politics game a little bit in Civ. But it's actually nothing compared to. It's not that bad compared to Stellaris. Like Stellaris is like, I feel like, well, you know what though, I do think that the politics of like Civ, I think it's more of an emphasis on the politics in Civilization, just because like people are reaching out to you a lot. They're always like denouncing you, doing shit. Like they're always doing shit to provoke you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But where I feel like as like in Stellaris, I think if you're just like, you can kind of be on your own and people will kind of leave you alone for the most part, as long as you're away from them. Right? Like, you know what I mean? Like in Civ, like you'll it's actually beneficial to be friends with your neighbor. Right? It's beneficial to like send them delegations and do all the little shit.
It's beneficial in both games. I mean, like I have played a lot more Stellaris. That's the only reason I'm saying.
Yeah. No, you're
But the
you're
only
right.
reason I'm
Yeah.
saying that is because like a lot of the games that I play of Stellaris by myself, I take advantage of my allies. Like I started realizing that there's I think they're considered strategic resources in Stellaris.
Yeah.
It's the ones that you get like the crystals or
Yeah.
yeah,
I know. Yeah.
like volatile motes, some shit like that. Like those, I figured out that those are pretty much worth the most that you can get. Like actually, dark matter is worth the most in
Right.
terms of trade.
Right.
So like if let's say I always build up that because I try to get those rare or those strategic resources as early as possible so
Right,
that I
yeah.
can start building the storage up.
Mhm.
But like I'll sell them a certain amount of like dark matter or like the motes, and they'll give me a good amount of like the metal, the alloys,
Right. Yeah.
which
Is that a strategic one too? The alloys or no?
well the alloys you make, so technically not.
Okay.
Like I mean eventually you can create synthetic crystals and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But like you can make alloy from the get-go. Like you need alloys to make ships and
Yeah.
to produce buildings and build mines, stuff like that.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean I just figured that when I get further into the game, it's a lot easier for me to just trade away the strategic resources to get alloys when I need to build more ships and
Yeah.
fuck
Yeah.
other people up.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel
So
you.
I mean, yeah, it is. Like I said, it depends on the situation. Like if most of the time I end up next to somebody when I'm playing Stellaris, regardless, because
Right.
I put on a good amount of people, and it's always the same race because I just put your guy because I just
Yeah,
made
yeah.
each one of. I think I explained this before on the podcast, but I basically had everybody make their own race on Stellaris, and then I
yeah.
just made a copy of them for my own games,
Yeah.
just to see how they'd interact if I put them in when I was playing by myself.
Right. Yeah.
But I normally play with those races on, and I always end up next to people that either
They like rival civics or
completely hate me for some reason, or
like Vinny's people,
or I end up next to like one of my own people that I created.
Do they ever hate you? They're like Frankenstein kind of like you. You created them and now they're like rebelling against you.
It just depends on which
these
ones.
motherfuckers. They have no idea what I've done for them.
Well, it depends on like which one it is and who I'm playing as.
Right.
So like normally I play as the Penguins because that's my OG race.
Yeah, the Penguins.
The Gwyn dynasty. But
the Gwyn, that's actually dope because it sounds like historical, like Chinese, like it sounds dope. You know what I mean? The Gwyn dynasty. And then, like I'll get next. I'll think it's like Jerson or something. I swear to God, because I like it's either
we always use the same like color schemes, and the symbols are pretty basic.
Yeah,
I mean they have added in more since I have all the DLC. They add in some portraits with different races and stuff like that. But
right, yeah,
our flags. I mean, most of our flags are pretty similar. I think recently I've tried to use different colors, but I don't. I mean, like red, blue, and black are like the best colors for me to use when I'm making an empire. Those are the fucking colors that stick out the most to me on the flag. So I don't know.
Yeah, or like red and gold. The one for me, like the old school Romans.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Green is like all right, but I feel like same thing. Like red, blue, black. That's about it.
Yeah.
And red, blue, black, and gold. That's about it. No, I think I agree with you. But again, just one more last point before we move on. Is like when we were talking about like the politics and stuff. I feel like also too in I forgot what I was gonna say. In Civ, I feel like it's more like I've never been like by myself and just been left alone. You know what I mean? Yeah, like even if I only have like 4 other like AI on, I'll be in like the corner of the map, just minding my own business, and it's usually if Trahan is in it, if he's in it, right, he just rolls up on you. He's like, "You're little, so we're just gonna try and take you," and then I have to beat his ass, right? Because like if you have a lot of cities, like you're not gonna bring in that much gold, right? So if you have smaller cities, you build commercials, right? Commercial hubs that they generate money, and you'll be good. You make like a plus 100, right? Like you're good money if you do that, right? Maybe like 4 cities for me, at least I found is 4 cities you can, as long as you can get to that number, you should be good, right? 4 to 5 cities. This dude has like 15.
Yeah, the AI and Civ build a lot of cities.
Yeah, and it's like, and then they just like encroach on you, right? So you kind of have to expand and like lay claim to your land there. But where I think is in Stellaris, you can be like a relatively like smaller. Like I think in the beginning I was reading like these different like things, and they had like a wide empire versus like a tall empire, and so like you could be what they call a tall empire, meaning you're smaller, but you have like the best tech, or you have the best like the most powerful military, like but you only have like a few different solar systems. That can work more so, I feel like, in Stellaris, because as long as you're not close to anybody, like they're not going to go out of the way to fuck with you, right? But in Civ, I've been by myself, like on an island by myself, and people are just like they just want to come and fuck with me. You know,
I think a lot of it in Civ too. So it has the Civ and Stellaris are similar, but with Civ at least, like who you're playing on really determines who's gonna like you, because certain leaders and certain civs have different ideals. And yes, Stellaris has that in the same sense, because of depending on what kind of ethics and traditions you pick for your government, that'll determine who likes you. But a lot of like, I think the thing too with Stellaris is that like if we're all playing. Like, y'all know that as soon as I run into both, whoever I run into, as soon as I run into you guys, you're pretty much protected.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
And the AI, if you are in like defensive packs with other AI or with other players, if the AI does not have a stronger military fleet than both of you, like both you and whoever you're allied with, they will not attack. They just like straight out refuse. I mean, unless they're like fanatic purifiers, the fanatic purifiers just kind of like say fuck it.
They just roll the dice. Yeah.
But I mean, sometimes the AI does like for some fucking reason in Stellaris, sometimes the AI does just like suicide charge their fleets into like my star bases or bigger fleets than theirs. Yeah. And I just watch and wonder what the hell's going on. It is funny to see, but I don't know. But with Civ, I just think that the map, like it, no matter what you do in Civ, you're basically still gonna be right next to somebody. Like even somebody who's like, if we were playing on the Earth map, and like you started in America and I started in like Europe, because normally I'd be playing as what, Portugal, Germany, or Brazil.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'd be in South America or Europe, more or less. If we played, I think it's True Star locations, Earth. So even if I'm
either next to me or next to Jerson.
Yeah, but like even if I'm across the ocean from you, like it doesn't take much for me to go
across. Yeah. Once you get cartography, the world is just, it shrinks. Like initially, you're like fuck it, because you got to like stick to the shallow water, and you got to like have these little, like try to find these little waves. But then once you get cartography, you can go where the fuck you want to go, and you're good money.
Like as long as you're not surrounded by somebody who will not open your borders, like open borders to you, you can pretty much do whatever you want in Civ. But like Stellaris, like everything hinges on who you have open borders with.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
And what random enemies end up spawning in certain systems. Like early on in Stellaris, if you can't really build too much, like you can build your max amount of ships if you want to, but you're gonna have 20 corvettes, like, and your weapons suck. So what? If you build all 20 corvettes, you might have a fleet power of like 1.4k, 1.2, 1.3 maybe.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, like, what the fuck what were you supposed to do with that?
It's a waste of time. Yeah. But yeah, it's more of you got to wait a little bit more. And I feel like it's just faster. But despite it being a turn-based game for Civ, I feel like at least if it's just us two playing, because I'm just kidding. I love everyone that we play with, but shout out to the boys. We got to play one day. But if it's us two playing, or it's like if it's me, you, and who else? I mean, who else goes pretty? Vinny goes pretty quick too. But if we're playing, we could just get through turns quick, because like I already know what I'm going to do, right? Like I kind of know what I'm going to do, and you know we're good money. But then if you're playing with like a lot of people, then sometimes like you just gotta wait. You're like, yo, somebody take your fucking turn already. Like,
well, the good thing about the Xbox, I mean, this is both a good and a bad thing, is that games like Stellaris and Civ get limited to 4 players.
Yeah, that's good. If it was like 6, I'd kill
can't
myself.
imagine.
Yeah.
Like, and the thing is, like you can get more players than that on the computer. Like Stellaris, you can probably fill the lobby with players, and you can put. I think when I'm playing with when I'm just playing the game by myself, I think I can put like 12 AI empires on.
Yeah.
And then like 4 fallen empires, like 3 or 4 fallen empires, 2 marauder empires, like that's a lot. And on the thing on the computer too is that, like, at least on Stellaris, I think they do make bigger maps on Civ as well. Like, I think the biggest map that you can get on Civ is, like, gigantic.
Really?
Yeah.
Whoa.
But, like...
And that's on computer, right, though?
Yeah, but, like...
Fuck.
You know, Stellaris, like, the max amount of... At least the max amount of base game stars that you can get in Stellaris is, like, 1,000.
That's so fucking crazy.
The biggest we got on console is 600.
Yeah, that's nuts.
1,000.
Yeah, so literally almost double, like what we have on console. And by the way, like playing, like, trying to get to these different places in Civ, it takes fucking long, bro. Like, it takes a minute if you have, like, what is it, a science ship, and they're kind of like your scouts. Is that fucking spider right there? Yeah, there's a daddy long nigga right there. You see him? Bastard. But if you have like a science ship, right, it can take you, bro, at least, I want to say, like, it could take you like 20 minutes, 30 minutes of real lifetime, like, to find a friend or to get from one side of the map to the other.
Well,
right? It may take like 20 real game minutes, because even if you program it, you're going to forget, you're going to get caught doing other things. So it takes a fucking minute to get across everywhere.
it wouldn't be too bad if you only had them explore. But like usually we have the science ship survey everything.
Yeah, that's true too.
So like when they survey everything, they have to go into every single star system and literally go to every planet, scan it, and then move on once they're done scanning everything in that.
Yeah, that is kind of crazy, huh?
But if you have them explore, because Jerson did this. Me and Jerson, I think, used to do this when you could. Like, we can't do it anymore because when they updated the game, they changed it. So originally, you could take your military ships, like, you know how you get 3 to begin with?
Yeah, you got like a Corvette or a couple of them.
Yeah, you get 3 Corvettes. What we used to do is take all 3 Corvettes, split them up into their own fleets, and then just send them out to explore. And then they'll just go to whatever system you have marked. But they'll spot every planet, and then, if they run into an AI empire, that's how you meet some people real quick.
Oh, okay.
But they took that out probably to prevent what we were doing, because that is kind of crazy to do. Because then you kind of know, like, immediately what's around you.
Yeah.
And it's both a good and a bad thing.
Yeah, I feel like it's good too, because if you run into like a threat, like they can actually defend themselves.
Yeah.
Right. But no. So, and then on top of that too, your fucking science ships get taken by like random fucking fallen empires too. Like, they'll just take them and be like, "Hey, we need a scientist," blip, and it just disappear. You're like, "What the fuck, bro? Come on, dog. I'm taking my scientist, bro." Right. But
I mean, it's not bad. Well, they changed it. Like I said, they changed it from being able to do that to now you can only send your military ships to places your science ships have been.
Right, yeah. They got to survey it, and then you got to send your people in.
Well, as long you don't have to survey it. As long as you send a science ship in to explore a star system, you can send your military ships in too.
Yeah.
But it's a bit of a pain in the ass to do it that way.
Yeah, it is. You know what else too, though, is like, I feel like with, like, you're talking about the different elements that like they have too. I thought one of the coolest ones they put in was the trade route thing, because that was from Civ, or at least in my experience. Like, Civ had it, and then Stellaris kind of implemented it into theirs as well. So if you guys aren't familiar, in Civilization, you can trade. You can build like a trader unit, and they can trade with other cities, city-states, and other civilizations. But then if you have like a barbarian or something like that, can actually pillage the trade route. So they can, the route that you normally take, and also too, it creates roads, right? Like, when you create a trade route, that's like the road for back in the day, right? And then if you have a barbarian, the barbarian will actually pillage that trade route, and you won't be able to use it anymore. They implemented that into Stellaris, which I thought was really cool, because that's like something that you don't really think about like a lot. That motherfucker's climbing. Look at him. He's so ugly. Sorry, we're talking about a spider, but it's like, I thought that was like an element that you just kind of had to worry about, because it always happens when you're just kind of droned out. You know what I mean? Like, you ever notice that when you're just kind of like, everything's going smooth, you got the queue, you're just chilling, and then all of a sudden you're like, your trade route was plundered. You're like, fuck, it kind of sucks you right back into the game, which I think is kind of cool. It kind of grabs your attention. So, I don't know. That's an aspect that's annoying, but I like it.
I mean, it gives you something to do, even when you're just kind of chilling out.
Yeah, yeah.
But It's weird. I mean, even the Stellaris is still kind of weird because you can actually change the path that your your trade routes take, but it's a little complicated to figure out. Like, I never took the time to figure out how to change everything.
Right.
I just kind of leave whatever routes they have set up, and then I, look how the routes are set up, and then send my ships to basically patrol that whatever trade route they have going on.
Yeah. And what are they? Marauders or pirates? The one in Stellaris that could take your stuff.
Yeah, I mean, random pirates will come to attack your trade route if it's undefended.
Right. So if you have like a couple military ships along the trade route, you're good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and the thing is, so I noticed it before, but if you let your trade route get too unprotected, so there's like a certain level, I guess, to protection.
Right, yeah.
They'll actually send like either more or like bigger ships.
Damn.
To plunder the trade routes. I think it just depends on I think it depends on how well your trade is doing. Mm-hmm. Like how many resources you're getting from the trades.
Right, yeah.
Or how much energy. That's all the trading is for.
Yeah.
And how much protection you have on those trade routes, I guess.
Right. And what's the biggest ship that you can have in or the best ship? Or is it a battleship? No. Yeah, in Stellaris.
Now it's the Colossus.
That's what it was.
I think it's either Colossus or Colossal.
Yeah.
It used to be the Titan. But like the colossal units or the colossal ship, you can't actually have in a fleet. Like the colossal ship's just by itself.
It's just one ship, but that shit's like 100K or some shit like that. Or
yeah,
50K.
Yeah. It's basically no wait, I don't know exactly how much it is, but it's it's more or less like a decent fleet by itself. I think it's like 50K.
Holy shit!
I think
so. You can have like 3 of those
because like a
things
Titan is like 10K until you start getting better weapons and stuff. But
so like unmodified, just the Colossus is 50K.
I'm pretty sure it's right around 50K.
Holy fuck, Bill!
I think I don't remember. I know you can build ships out of it too. I'm pretty sure. Like they build smaller ships.
Dude, that's insane.
Like I think you can build I don't think you can build battleships out of the Colossal, but I think you can build up to like cruisers.
Cruisers are tight. I actually like cruisers.
Yeah, they're
pretty epic. I don't know, man. I don't know. We really went on for an hour about that.
Well, I don't know if you're cutting anything out. We could probably go for a little bit over an hour. So if you're gonna do one more topic for at least this part,
yeah, we'll do one more for this, and then we'll wrap it all up.
Too crazy.
Yeah, one more, and we'll wrap it all up. I mean, this is something. I don't know if you follow Harry Potter. If you're a big Potter guy.
I mean, I've watched all the movies, but like, it's not like I follow it now.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I mean.
I don't know if there's anything to follow.
Not right now. I mean, they're like, unless it's like
fantastic. Like what is there? I thought there were rumors that they were going to be doing another movie. Like another Harry Potter movie, not the Fantastic Beasts movies.
I don't know. I mean, maybe. I haven't personally seen the rumors, but I know what they're trying to do. The Wizarding World, which is almost like the MCU, where they want to build like the entire world up, which I think is kind of cool. And they're starting to do that now with Fantastic Beasts, and that's like the sort of the prequels to Harry Potter, right? Because Harry Potter takes place in the 90s, right? And so this takes place like in the 40s, I want to say.
But I'm just like curious how far that can go. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, like
with the MCU or like Star Wars, like so much crazy shit can happen because there's so many different worlds and different like. And I'm not saying that doesn't exist in Harry Potter. Obviously, I don't know too much about the lore. I just watched the fucking movies.
Yeah,
no, I'm not a genius. All right, I think I watched the first 2 Fantastic Beasts movies too, but I didn't watch the last one.
The last one was pretty good.
Even out.
The last one was good. I liked the last one.
Oh.
And it was when they replaced Grindelwald. Remember we talked about that? Yeah. The guy who plays him isn't actually that bad. I don't hate it. I think he's more of a traditional bad guy. I definitely would have liked it if Johnny Depp was in it. But I would have liked it regardless, though. But no, I thought it was good. I thought that they do a really good job of I think maintaining like the because they do a good job of like introduce, like for me, like, you know how like Marvel now is kind of in unprecedented territory because they've moved away from all the traditional heroes that we like they moved on from Iron Man, they moved on from Captain America, they moved on from the older people that we're connected with, and now it's all new people, and they're finding ways, right? And like they're using Doctor Strange a lot, they're using Wong a lot, so they're finding ways to sort of link the new with the old, and I think that the like Harry Potter does that really well. Like everyone loves Dumbledore, so they kind of take advantage of the fact that Dumbledore just pops up and does like a cool side quest all the time. Like that's just what he does. It's like his whole thing. It's like he has his own thing going on, but that you can kind of sense that this is like Dumbledore's side quest. You know, like that's what Dumbledore's like. He's like Snoop or The Rock. You know what I mean? Like you just see them doing random shit. Like I saw Snoop. And Snoop was in like a Japanese commercial for some reason.
A Japanese commercial?
Yeah, like he was just in a commercial that just spoke Japanese, and he was just like, "Hey, what up? It's DLW." Like, you know what I mean?
Yo,
it was wild. Like he just does it. Like I'm watching the Rams game. The fucking Rock is there. The Rock is on the field, and he's like, "Can you get ready to?" Right? And he's like doing this whole Rock thing, and so I was like, they just be doing side quests, and that's what you feel like with Dumbledore. You just feel like he just pops up. And whatever you're doing, you're like, oh shit, it's Dumbledore. You know what I mean? That's kind of what you feel like. But they do a good job of implementing him, but not in a corny way, you know. But I liked it. But yeah, they're trying to create this MCU thing, and to your point too, is like with Star Wars and with the MCU, this you know, Star Wars was created in the 70s, right? Maybe even before that with George Lucas. Like he had this whole vision, and he wrote books and he wrote comics and he did all these different things. Like, so he expanded he expanded everything by himself. Only thing that these people have to do is follow it and make it good. You know, and that's the same thing with the MCU, is they just have to follow the blueprint that's there, that's worked, and just make sure that they're doing it justice and that they're able to sort of translate it to casual people because they got to make money. But I think they're doing a pretty good job. But yeah, going back to it too, is like, they also, for Harry Potter, they what is her name? What is the lady that wrote it? J.K. Rowling? I don't know if they have her on as much as they did, but I don't know if she's like still an executive or what have you. But I think she only wrote the books. I think she also wrote The Cursed Child, which is like a play now. I don't know if they're going to make a movie about that, but it's Harry Potter and the Cursed Child about his son.
See, that's what I thought they were doing a movie for, but I don't. Like I said, I don't know for sure if that's.
Well, they might. I mean, he's in the wizarding world, but I'm not going to go watch a play. Like, I mean, nothing against it, right? Like that's cool, but that's just not my thing, you know. And plus, plays are like 5 hours, bro. You know what I mean? Like, at least a movie's like 2. A movie's like 2. You go in there, you know, you kind of do your thing, and you're out of there. And it's you know, you get some food.
Listen, the last play that I was fucking at was like when I was in high school, and I'm not doing that.
That was
again.
good. Remember we saw Little Abner when we were in like in 8th grade, about to go to 9th grade, and they brought us over and we watched Little Abner.
I don't remember that.
You don't remember that?
I mean,
that shit was.
I mean,
dope.
I'm sure I was there, but I'm sure I don't really remember actually paying attention.
Yeah.
I mean, like, what the hell? When I was in, was it chorus?
Yeah,
that was middle school, wasn't it?
Were we in chorus together? You were in chorus 7th grade. So I was in chorus
7th or 8th.
6th, 7th grade, and 8th grade. I was in chorus. So we were in chorus together.
But yeah.
Yeah, but that was before what we met in what? It had to have been 6th grade because we met in 7th.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we were in chorus together. I didn't even know that. That's dope.
Mm-hmm. I don't know.
Vibing.
I don't know why I did it.
We're singing, bro. We were getting after it. You know what it is? They knew that we were gonna have to use our voices in the future, so they just had us practice.
The only reason I bring that up is because, like, I'm pretty sure that for the chorus trip, we had to go to New York, and my grandmother went with me. We went to see, what was it? West Side Story? Is that what?
Yeah. Was it West Side Story or Wicked?
I think it was West Side Story.
But yeah, it's probably West Side Story.
I mean, I'm fairly certain I fell asleep during it, but I mainly just went because my grandma, like, you know, because that's something my grandmother was into.
Oh, yeah.
Like, she'd be more into that than I would.
Yeah,
So,
and she was like, did she like it?
I think so.
Wow, that's good.
It's been a while, so I couldn't tell you offhand if she did like it or not.
Yeah, West Side
I just
Story.
remember having to go to New York, and she went with me, and we went to see a play and eat at some fucking random ass diner.
That's sick, though.
I don't remember what fucking diner it was.
You went to NYC. You walked around NYC in 8th grade.
I
That's
think
sick.
so. I'm pretty sure it was because I didn't do chorus when we were in high school.
Yeah, it must have been 8th grade then.
I'm pretty sure, right?
Yeah, because I missed half 8th grade when I broke my leg for the first time. 4 times, people, I broke my leg. 4 times. Yeah. But yeah, I didn't know you. I didn't know you guys. I didn't know they went to New York because the one that I was there, they went to State Theater to see Wicked. That was in like 6th or 7th grade, but I didn't go because like I don't know. I don't know. My mom's not really into that. Like she likes it. She would like to go see it, but my mom is like, my mom would rather go see like a concert or something. Yeah, but I feel like my grandma would probably like to go see Wicked.
I could go to a concert again.
Yeah, concerts are sick. She's talking to you again.
Get off. Nobody called you.
Well, yeah. I mean, if you guys want to see Wicked, let us know. We'll take you with us. We'll illegally record it.
Yeah.
We'll get in trouble. Imagine us trying to sneak this shit in. We're like, hey guys, we're with the sound crew. Like they were already here this morning.
Yo.
Sorry about that. Yeah. We'll sneak you in. We'll sneak the camera in. I think we could fit that in a case.
Probably.
And record it. Yeah, I think we could.
Or like a bag.
Yeah. I think we could. Yo, you know what? Last thing before we get out of here. I just watched this thing where they caught these 2 Nazis in Argentina. This news crew went to this it was like an Argentinian it was like an Argentine village. And it was like a fishing village, and it looked like the Alps, like in Germany, because they had like snow-topped mountains, and it was like settled in like this mountain, and it was all it was all German, right? And what they said was they were like, oh, this is a Bavarian escape for our German friends, you know what I mean? And what ended up happening was they found this dude who was initially they found this guy. Or no, the woman was like, they had the name of this guy who was like an officer in Italy, like a Nazi SS officer in Italy, and they were like trying to find him. They couldn't really find him. They went by his house, couldn't find him. So the woman was like, her cover was that she was looking to invest in like a delicatessen, right, or like a deli, and so she is actually an Argentinian, like Jewish woman. But she speaks Spanish. She's from Argentina. And so the one producer left, and he went back to the States for a little bit. And he was about to come back. And so she was staying in this hotel, and she asked the clerk, like, hey, what can I, what is like a good book to read, or like, how can I get some history on this village? And he recommends like it's all in German. She recommends this book. She goes to like 2 or 3 bookstores, and the bookstores are like, no, we don't have it. It got lost. Right. Then she's like, oh, that's kind of weird. So one day she goes out to get something to eat. She's walking back to the hotel, and she sees it on like a kiosk. So she picks it up and she starts reading about it. And it's like all of like the dirty secrets, right? It's like, oh, this guy was a Nazi officer that settled over here that created our great, settlement. I was like, what the fuck, bro? And like, they're like bragging about it, right? And then they find his house, and they're like, shit, we don't really know. He never comes out of his house, never does this, never does that. And then they eventually found this guy who was a Nazi war criminal. His name was like something Pripke, right? And he was like the second in command of the SS in Rome. And there was a bomb that went off that killed 33 Nazis. And he took it was 10 Italian Jews for every one Nazi that was killed. They killed 330 people, 30 like Italian Jews. And it was like this big, it was a massacre. I forget the name of the exact massacre, but they have like to prevent the stuff from being dug up, right? From them finding the bodies. What they did was they had this giant tomb that they fell into. They covered it over, then they blasted it, so it kind of entombed them in like a giant mass grave. And it was like one of the most horrifying things that happened in Italy. So, and this guy was like the perpetrator of it. And so they found him, and they reached out, and her cover was, I'm trying to open up like a delicatessen here, and I want someone that's familiar with the business. And he happened to have his own like deli store. And so they were going to meet up. They talked, and she was like, oh my God, like this guy was, a Nazi war criminal that killed Jewish people, that hated Jewish people. And so the whole op-ed was they were going to have a CBS anchor fly down and then confront him and be like, hey, you're a Nazi war criminal. Like, what do you think about this and that and blah, blah, blah. Right. Just kind of ambush him. And so they were like, okay, we haven't found the first guy. Right. Let's go see if we could find him. Let's just hang out in the beginning. Like, let's hang out outside his house and see if he comes out. So the whole time they're down there, they don't see him. They go in front of the house, or they go to the house and they're sitting in front of it. That's the only day he finally comes out of the house, gets into a cab, and they follow the cab. And as soon as they jumped out, or as soon as he got out, they jumped out and were like, he changed his name, and they were like, are you so-and-so? He's like, yeah. And then, did you used to be, I think it was like Larson or something like that. And he goes, yeah, like that's what I used to be. And then the German, the people gave me a new name to go by. And he just kind of admitted that he was a Nazi, right? He was like, oh, yeah, I was in the army and I was in the German army and stuff. And he was like freaking the fuck out because they figured out who he was. And so they pull him to the side. He pulls the news anchor to the side, the guy that's interviewing him. And he goes, listen, he's like, do you know a guy by the name of Pripke, right? And he's like, no. He's like, I could tell you where he is. He's at that school down there, right? He was a big Nazi war criminal. Right, he just sold out like his own Nazi, I guess, service mate or whatever. And so they go down and they ambush the other guy, and the other guy got like, he admitted that he killed all those people. He admitted that like he was a Nazi, but he was following orders. And then I think it was the Italian police like extradited him from Argentina to face trial in Italy, right, for war crimes, and he got off the first time because he was following orders. And then he was like leaving. He was just walking out the courtroom after beating the case, and people were gonna like, people were like flying out, like trying to beat him up and shit like that. Like it was unrest in Rome, and then they were like, oh no. So they immediately just rearrested him like on the spot, tried him again, and then he was guilty. But then since he was so old, they can't send him to prison, so they just sent him to an apartment. So, and this was in like 1994 or something like that. And yeah, I was like, damn, dude. I was watching that the other day. It was a whole like hour and a half YouTube video, and I watched it.
Yo.
That was fucking wild. It was wild, bro. I don't know. I had to get that off my chest. I was trying to tell my family about it, and they're just like, okay, I'm fucking.
What they got to do to us? What's that got to do with us? Couldn't even fucking say it the first time.
They're like, Nazi, like fuck that Nazi, bro. Who cares? I'm like, isn't it interesting that they're down there? And they're like, yeah, we kind of knew that. I was like, well, all right, I guess this is new information for me. But I think that about wraps it up for this episode, season 2, episode number 1. Welcome back. Be out here, and I really want to do a Halloween episode. I don't know why I'm so focused on Halloween right now, because that's what September 1st is to me. It's just the first day of Halloween.
What,
you know what I'm saying?
Do you consider a Halloween episode?
I don't know. Maybe we do like ghost stories or something.
My God.
No, we should come with costumes on and just do an episode with a costume on. Yeah, so that would be mad fun if we did that. But I think it's on a Monday though, Halloween. So we're gonna have to do it this Saturday before Halloween, or maybe even the Friday, depending on if we go out or not. If we get fucked up, because if we get fucked up, I ain't doing shit. You get fucked up. I'm not doing
Dead.
that. No. Like, listen, I'm not getting fucked up unless I'm blacking out. You know what I'm saying? That's like an alcohol.
You guys really want to relive what happened last time we went out?
I was good last time.
You were probably the only one that was good, other than me.
Yeah, you didn't.
I didn't do nothing. I didn't drink at all.
I don't know what had happened. I mean, you know what was funny though is that during that time I was like, man, like I was like, my stomach, like I felt sick, but I'm such a fat ass. I just fought through it. I was like, no, I will not throw up. But you know, that was a great night though. That was a funny ass night, son. That was. I went over and I talked to that chick. I totally forgot to give her my name. Right. I went over to her and this is what I did. I was like, hi. I like shook her hand. I was like, hey, shook her hand.
Yo.
And I was like, hi, I really like your tattoos. And we started talking about tattoos for a little bit. We had a little conversation. And then I was like, hey, I got to get out of here. I'm getting a ride. So, have a good night. That was it. I didn't give her my name. I didn't give her my number. Nothing. Nothing.
Yo.
I was like, you know what? The crazy thing is I got home. And by the time I got home, I drank like a couple bottles of water and I was like not as drunk. And I was like, I fucked something up tonight. I know I did. And then I was talking there. And Charles goes, did you give the girl your name? I was like, no.
Joe?
They're like your number
Get that far?
or Instagram. I was like, no, I didn't. I did not. And they're like, well, how is she supposed to hit you up? Like, oh, fuck. I screwed that one up. But next time, I'm not going to screw it up. Next time, I might just get my name tattooed on my hand. Just so that they know who it is. On my knuckles. Like Jason Thomas. Yeah. All right. Wrapping it up. See you guys next episode. Take care. Have a good week. If you're watching ball, hopefully you're an Eagles fan. Maybe we'll react to that at some point if the Eagles win, if the Eagles lose. If the Eagles lose, we're not talking about nothing.
We're just going to be really disappointed.
Yeah, we're going to be disappointed in silence. But either way, see you guys next episode. We'll be talking to y'all. Deuce, deuce. Have a good one. We out here.
Adios.
It's going to be loud.
Oh, here we go.